Transit Administration. I'm here today with Joe Davis, MTA's Chief Operating Officer, Kate Sylvester, MTA's Chief Program Delivery Officer, and Mike Winger, our Chief Safety Officer. We're announcing that effective tomorrow, December 8th, service on our light rail system will be suspended. We recognize that this is a critical transit service, and this is not a decision that we've taken lightly. The decision to suspend service is based on two issues. First, we've discovered that high voltage conduits on our vehicles have been punctured. This was discovered as a result of inspections following a fire event on October 21st. Following that event, MTA worked with our vehicle overhaul contractor, Alstom, to complete a safety risk assessment to determine any potential risks. The safety risk assessment was completed in compliance with MTA's Public Transportation Agency Safety Plan as required by the Federal Transit Administration. The safety risk assessment is an essential process within a transit agency's safety management system for identifying hazards and analyzing, assessing, and mitigating safety risk. Per the safety risk assessment, the risk level for this particular issue at that time was identified to be a medium level, which requires mitigation but dictates that the risk level is acceptable to continue operation. The second issue is related to the piece of machinery that connects the two sections of our light rail cars, called the inter-car connector cable, which has caused 6 smoke events between November 2021 and November 2023, including 3 in the past 4 months. MTA and Alstom have also been reviewing this issue and have completed a safety risk assessment. That safety risk assessment also identified this issue to be a medium level, which again requires mitigation but remains an acceptable level of risk. Since the first issue, the fire event on October 21st, MTA and Alstom have continued to inspect vehicles to determine a root cause of that issue. The initial inspections of trim screws located over the high voltage conduit, which had been a suspected cause, showed no warning signs, punctures, or aberrations. Following those inspections, electrical testing was undertaken, which suggested that the individual car was at fault rather than a system-wide issue. Over the month of November, Alstom continued to investigate root cause and developed a visual inspection plan. This past Monday, December 4th, the prior electrical testing was invalidated based on the visual inspections that revealed conduit issues. This elevated concern and indicated the need for a full fleet visual inspection. On Tuesday, December 5th, MTA began the process of updating our safety risk assessment and developed a repair for both issues with Alstom. While the risk level remains acceptable, we're taking action out of an abundance of caution and in order to facilitate an expedited inspection and repair of the fleet. We will be implementing shuttle bus service at all light rail stops effective at start of service tomorrow, and we will begin immediately inspecting and repairing the fleet. As soon as we have enough cars available to provide a minimal level of service, approximately 30 to 40 minute headways, we will implement that schedule. As additional cars are inspected and repaired, they will be phased in to increase service levels. We will return to our full service levels when we have 19 rail cars available. I want to note that our progress will be dependent on inspection results and contractor and material availability. We'll provide updates regularly via our website and social media to keep our riders apprised. And I again want to let our riders know we understand what a significant impact this will have, and we're going to work to mitigate those impacts where possible. The safety of our riders is paramount, and we must act with that in mind. So thank you, and my team and I are available to answer any questions you may have.
How much did the budget cuts have to do with this suspension?
This issue is not related to the budget cuts. This is a prior overhaul that we've been doing, and we discovered the issues related to that.
Right off the budget, how much is all these repairs going to cost?
The overall overhaul project has a budget of about $160 million. These repairs are going to be included as part of the warranty work that we're doing with Alstom.
Was anybody injured in any of the incidents where there was a fire or smoke?
In the fire event on October 21st, one rider had a minor injury, and then on one of the smoke events this year, one of our police officers suffered minor injuries from smoke inhalation.
Can you talk more about the timeline that you all plan on phasing these cars back into service, and when you all expect everything just to be back up and running?
So we're going to start immediately with inspections and repairs. I can't give a timeline because it really is going to depend as we get in there and start doing these inspections and get a better handle of kind of what's going on. But again, as soon as we can possibly restore service, we will. In the meantime, we're going to have shuttle bus service to provide access for our riders.
Could you briefly talk about what the damaged parts do? Like, can you explain to us what they are?
Sure. So the first on the conduits that have holes on them. So essentially the conduits run along the side of the train, providing electrical voltage from the pantograph, which is the machinery on top of the train that connects to the catenary, down to the traction power motors, which actually run the train. And then the intercar connector. So that is in the articulated part of the train, so kind of where it's like the bendy part there. There's electrical conduit that kind of plugs in together, and that's where we've been having the smoke flashing issues.
Also kind of a technical question, does each rail car have its own individual conduit, or are the conduits kind of acting with just the cars that go into service?
Each rail car has multiple conduits throughout the car.
Okay, so were there conduit punctures like across all of the 100 rail cars that you have in the fleet, or was this like just limited to specific rail cars?
So we have 53 light rail cars, and so the initial, yes. Yep, Michigan Metro. So we had initially, again, anticipated just to be the one from the inspections that we were doing. We've done some visual inspections and have determined over the weekend that, again, it's a more systemic issue than what we thought, and that's where we need to pull the cars from service so we can inspect all the rail cars as quickly as possible.
What's the age of the cars?
The current cars range from 24 to 31 years old.
Yeah, and just going off that, is there a reason why they all broke at once and you just stop it all at once? Is there a reason why you weren't able to sort of schedule maintenance ahead of time to get ahead of this instead of having to shut it all down?
So this is an issue, again, that we just realized this week, and in order to ensure safety for our riders, which again is our #1 priority, that required the immediate inspection and repair of those vehicles.
But going off your previous timetables, this maintenance was not supposed to...
So this isn't a maintenance issue. This is part of the overhaul. There shouldn't be holes in the conduit, and we discovered that there are. And so essentially, we have to mitigate that now. It's not a normal routine maintenance activity.
If this is going to be, if you're going to use bus shuttles, is this going to affect bus routes as they are now with availability and times?
Yes, we only have so many buses and operators available, and so we will have to pull from existing bus routes in order to provide the shuttle service.
And I'm assuming these shuttle buses will arrive and depart at the same time as trains usually would, like rail trains.
We're going to try and mimic as closely as possible to the light rail service, but it is going to take a lot longer. I mean, it takes about 2 hours to get from end to end on a shuttle bus versus light rail is much quicker, but so it will be a slower service for our riders.
And riders will be charged the same for this, or is this
Free shuttle bus service.
it's free?
Yes.
Gotcha.
So as far as numbers, how many people are going to be impacted by this, do you anticipate? And do you anticipate any kind of issues with transitioning to the buses at all?
So we have currently about 10,000 riders per day on our light rail system that will be impacted. Our team is ready to go tomorrow morning for the first pull-out to make sure that they have that shuttle bus service available.
So the budget cuts that were announced this week, I know that's going to slow the process for kind of bringing in those new rail cars that you're planning to do for the overhaul. Could you talk a little bit more about that, like how the budget cuts are affecting the timeline for replacing the fleet?
So the fleet replacement wasn't funded previously, so it wasn't impacted by the budget cuts. But that said, overall we do need to look for increased funding for transit, and it really speaks to the importance of funding transit and funding it at the levels that we need. We are applying for a federal grant for replacement of the vehicles later this month, and we're going to continue to move full steam ahead with that. That said, it's a long process to buy new vehicles, and so our other priority is ensuring that the vehicles we do have remain safe and reliable for our riders.
Has there been any talks with BWI, given the holiday season, people are flying into Baltimore, there's a stop right there at BWI, like any communications with BWI letting providers, like people coming to Baltimore know, hey, this is what's happening with the light rail, and also people who take the light rail to the workday.
Yeah, many BWI employees rely on light rail to get there. So BWI is one of our sister agencies, so we did reach out to them to let them know there will be signage at each of the light rail stations, and we'll be continuing to push that out and letting folks know the shuttle bus service will be available, but it will take a little longer.
In total, how many shuttle buses will be out there?
Joe, can you speak to that?
The initial plan is 30, and then we'll be supplementing that. As you know, we have a Ravens game this weekend, so we'll have express shuttle service for the Ravens game as well. So we're in contact with the Ravens staff today, let them know to start communicating with ticket holders that the light rail service would be suspended and that we would have the buses out there to help their folks get to the stadium.
I just want to clarify one thing too, just to make sure I got my notes right. When you talk about those conduits that were punctured, were they for all of the cars on the fleet?
So again, that's why we need to do a visual inspection. We have not visually inspected every car in the fleet, and so we need to do that as quickly as possible to determine what the breadth of the problem is and repair as quickly as we can.
And back to the timeline, can you give any, like, until the service is up at some point? By the new year, weeks, months, can you give any insight how long?
I mean, as quickly as we possibly can. I think we need 8 rail cars to do a minimal level of service, and so that's going to be our priorities. How quickly can we inspect and repair those first 8 rail cars?
Do you have any idea how much of a financial hit this will take with it down altogether?
I would have to get back to you on the revenue impact of that. Any other questions?
Just, it's suspended indefinitely, or, yeah, because people are gonna ask when, and just as fast as you can, what does that mean? Like, could you see it within a month?
As soon as we have as soon as we have a better sense of timeline, we're going to be sharing that with our riders. Again, I need the Alstom staff to get in and start doing those inspections and get a better sense of what the breadth of this problem is.
Okay, thank you.
Well, if you don't have,
Sorry, I was gonna ask, similar to the question about the conduits, also with the connectors between the cars, is that like all of our connectors are out? Can you talk a little bit more about that problem as well?
So again, we want to repair that issue on every car. The level of severity of that one is not as high, but while this fleet is down, we're going to ensure that we're fixing both issues and we put them back, and we know that there are no issues when we put them back in service. So every car will have the conduits repaired and the inter-car connectors.
sorry, I'm just still having difficulty understanding how, like, we have the same problem, like the same issue across so many cars at the same time. Do you give any more than you have, or are they stated differently?
So this is part of why we're doing the inspections, to get a good understanding of how many cars do have the issues. It is related to the overhaul, and it's related to the work that we're continuing to perform. So that's going to be part of the conversations and the investigations that we're doing with Alstom over the next several weeks.
I just want to make sure I get it right. You said the risk level is acceptable. This is all just out of an abundance of caution.
Yes.
So technically, if you wanted to, they could be running this is all just out of caution.
Abundance of caution, and the safety risk assessment does determine the severity level, and so we are taking a look at that. We're updating that, and based on the possibility of a catastrophic failure, we want to again make sure that we're not putting our riders in any sort of danger. We're not going to operate the system unless it's safe to do so.
And do you know about how many riders you have on the light rail per day?
It's about 10,000 riders per day.
10,000? Is that one of your least modes of, least travel uses of transportation?
So light rail, so each mode has different levels of ridership. It's about 55% recovered from the pre-pandemic levels. But bus right now on all the different bus lines is our highest level. That said, our highest bus service still is less than the total number of folks who ride on light rail in a given day.
I guess with the inspections as well, will you be doing kind of a full comprehensive inspection to check for any other potential issues on the light rail cars? Like, I guess just to try to prevent, put them back out of service and then we notice something else is going on. And I guess the second part to that is, would you be doing any sort of additional inspections along the track as well to check for potential issues that could be contributing to this as well?
So for your first question, we do preventive maintenance. So we do regular inspections. We have daily inspections, 45-day inspections, 90-day inspections that we do regularly. So we have a good confidence in the rest of the railcar systems. On the second question, we're going to continue our regular track work and maintenance. We are looking to see if there's any maintenance that needs to happen that we can accelerate and do during this time period to further minimize future delays to our riders.
Well, thank you all for your thoughtful questions. I have a press release as well as a fact sheet here to distribute to all of you as additional resource. And both myself and Courtney are available if you have any additional questions.
Thank you.
Is there a lifespan on these cars in general? I don't know.
Sure. The typical useful life for a light rail car is about 30 years. So we are kind of at that point, which is why we're starting the process now to look at replacing those. Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll go out that way.
Oh, awesome.